Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. This is Julie with JFK Freedom. It's morning for me, if you can't tell by my voice. I would like to thank the Lord for blessing me with these words and appointing them this day over the nations and kingdoms of the earth if they so choose to listen, to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. Although some of this is embarrassing, but as the Lord says, it's like, I feel like I've said everything on this channel you can say, so there's not a whole lot left to tell anyways, but I might tell y'all a little bit my side. Okay, by the way, this is from the Rhema from Monday, September 18th. So the Lord is taking me from oversharing to, I thought the other side would just be being quiet, but He's letting me know, like, basically the Boaz is a pretty popular guy, so I'll be like going with him some places sometimes in the future at some point. And there'll be a lot of people curious about our story and asking me a lot of questions. So I thought the opposite of oversharing would be being quiet. But he said I'll basically be learning to be like a politician and evade questions and evade, sharing things with people I shouldn't. He did say I could speak to some people who are trustworthy, but the Holy Spirit has to help me with that, and obviously there has to be some kind of privacy level before I would share the truth about some of these things. He said I'll be like an effing politician, and then he said, I know, babe, I know, can't believe it, at her own condemned self, dear ones, that I am spirit working, sleuth moding in her, dear ones. She's finally learned to, dear ones, so I speak of sleuth moding it out, folks, and dear ones, so I mean the rest of her life, for can she, dear ones, just tuck tail and run from all these terrible to her scenarios? Well, she for sure has wanted to, dear ones, on my own A-word of, the Lord seems to hate me, check. Dear ones, so she's had it a little bit twisted on my A-word for, dear ones, think pretty much all this year for me, dear ones, how hard this all has been for her to perceive of abusive hubby over here, check. God says I can't run away. Double check yourselves, dear ones, for judging her so harshly for that, dear ones, for she is, dear ones, terribly embarrassed about that side of the story. When it comes to secular folks, dear ones, they're basically on the complete opposite argument of your sides of things. My dear pasty pastors, churchy churchgoers, or maybe something in between like her, dear ones, for is she's not really, dear ones, operating in her prophetic gifting in that place at all. In fact, not 1 ounce. For is she is, dear ones, incredibly scared of rejection at this point in her, as some of you sadly saw the comment on Zach's video, so it's true, dear ones, so it's true. And if I am that I am calls her forward to confront a Jezebel on Mount Carmel, dear ones. Oh, she'll do it, dear ones. Whatever I say, pretty much. I know pretty much about it anymore, folks. This sad sack gal is discreet and holy as they come, only showing up and out if ain't, dear ones. And I mean her sweet, soft voice included, everybody. She operates in sleuth mode in real life, dear ones, for she's been hurt much, and does she? She does, for sure, dear ones, relish this secret lifestyle she carries deep within her. Like you, dear ones, like you. Folks, so I'm actually speaking this part out loud for my dark ones listening today in shock and awe of how, Lord, could a Christian like her just not go around blabbing her big fat mouth that God said this and God said that? Here he laughs. I don't know, dogs, and he winked. But boy howdy do I truly know it, dear ones. Babes, my babesters in Christ, or could be, if you'll but just... babes, so I speak of knowing the answers to your sick, geschicked her way at times questions of trained, dear ones, and are rather sad, for I am to witness it happening from a sick as hell hand of... And I had to stop there. The next part, he spoke of how the Satanists play tricks on one another. Okay, he's about to speak about my body again, how it's not as perfect as it can look in clothing. After I gave birth, I had gained weight, and then there was corona, and I was depressed. I gained about 20 kilos. I'm not sure how many pounds that is. I'll put it on the screen, I guess. Yeah, I actually asked Max point blank. I was like, should I lose weight? What do you think? He told me I still look pretty and he's still attracted to me. So I didn't feel any pressure to lose weight. But then when the whole marriage was falling apart, I was like, okay, in 2022, I was like, all right, I had the miscarriages, no more kids, I'm gonna lose weight. And I thought naively, like, oh, maybe he will start treating me nicely if I lose weight and change my look a little bit. But that did not happen. It was around the summertime I realized nothing was going to change, 2022. And at that time I was like, okay, I'm just going to say I did all this for myself. I lost weight for my own health so that I can feel good about myself, changed my hair for myself, doing my clothes the way I want for myself, which is fine. But deep down inside it was pretty hurtful to know that I had tried and failed. Anyway, the Lord says it was meant to fail, this marriage. So he said, yeah, dude, so I speak of this Satanist pulling off terrible as hell tricks on one another. For does it for sure does, dear ones, passiert or occur. And you two, babes, longing to keep it honest as hell and 100 with one another, perfect, dear ones, for sure almost perfect as hell in a sick society, no one loves anybody anymore. Okay, more like just those bodies, dear ones. And is a person more than a mere body, dear ones? Well, yeah, babes, my babes of the hour, or could be, but I digress. Yeah, dear ones, think longing, babes, in all the wrong ways, on one another's A-words of, this be better remain perfect like her body, if I'm gonna let her hang around me. Yeah, dear ones, so it can get bad, sweetie beaties. And did she? She does, dear ones, get it all twisted at times on her own A-word of, body's not perfect in this way over here, check. New beau has a 6-pack or 8-pack that scares the shiz out of me if he were to compare my belly to his. Yeah, dear ones, so her thought life does get still a little sad, twisted, and negative on my A-word of twisted, dear ones. Don't get it twisted when I say, yeah, dude, so she does for sure have some physical benefits to her body, dogs, but, and don't some of you actually prefer those sleek, sporty as hell, like only a woman without children can have? Yeah, dude, so I speak of her tummy today, folks. And it is, dear ones, rather dimply and sweet, for I am that I am, and my angels to perceive that. Yeah, so this chick has been through a lot in life, folks. And will he? He won't, dear ones, be pulling up her shirt to see what's underneath for many long months of the wedding night, dear ones. It's when he'll truly see all her flaws, oops and ahs, misses, weights gain, and losses of, tosses it, dear ones, all into the sweet trash of, dear bays, hot bod ain't so hot as I thought, check. We'll love the shiza out of her anyway. Double check yourselves, dear ones, on all these thoughts of jealous, dear ones. Yeah, dogs, so I speak of the matey maidels in this hour coming up on her A-word of, but his new dear beau ain't perfect, folks, for she's had, God forbid it, folks. Yeah, dear ones, so I speak of sex. And is it my prerogative, dear ones, to make one like person just happen to fall in love with someone exactly like them in all areas? No, dear ones, and no. And what a sad, silly, simple as hell world we'd have on our hands, dear ones, if all married couples were alike and like little lemmings that travel in packs of 2. Do not despair at times sillily, my married ones listening, that your dear gal is anything but. Just stop, dear ones, with all that shiza and I am's view of strengths and weaknesses, dear ones. We all have them, some more than others, dear ones. And if you're not in an abusive living environment situation like her, dear ones, then, well, cat stays in the bag on this one, folks, of, I got a little probby-wobby over here with my dear wife's sweet but a little too old for my taste goods of, pray, dear ones, if this is you today for sure, some of my sad but older sons listening sweetly today to hear, what, folks, she isn't actually all that sexy. Perception, dear ones, it can clear up or muddy the air in. Pray and ask me, dear ones, for that same sweet as hell, more like heaven, dear ones, when I perceive the manly man in this hour, going for the gold on their wives' sweet or not so much in their view, any more bauds of, please, Lord, help me love her right tonight, despite this. It can, dear ones, get a little jiggly out there in B, I just had 3 kids in a row for you territory, so can you just calm down on my A word about losing that weight again, dear hubby? Yeah, dudes, think her own thoughts a couple years ago, babes. And did he? He did, dudes, sadly, just turn even more into the porny porn at that time of twisted, dear ones. And Asian-style tits, dudes. Yeah, dudes, it's what he's wanted for years. After he saw it for himself, folks of, what, dudes? These things actually change shape after a baby is born and breastfed on them. Yeah, dudes, so they do. So they do, sons, and you know it. So stop idolizing her. Favorite invention in this hour, folks, is for real, dudes, the bra. And, okay, so he said I could tell y'all some other inventions I like, but I'm a fan of the sewing machine and the ski lift. And I think we should have stopped all inventions in the 50s. Those are my private thoughts about inventions. Not so private anymore. 50s, also the year ibuprofen was invented, and spandex. So yeah, very important decade. We could have just stopped there. They can't, dear ones, perceive me in this world very well anymore. And the cities, dear ones. What, babes? My babesters of the hour. Or could be, but I digress. Yeah, dear ones, so I'm asking you the true purpose of a big city today, folks. Build the highest Trump tower? Side note, I felt I was receiving an understanding in the spiritual realm as he was speaking this. It goes all the way back to the Tower of Babel, and the whole point of that was to exalt humanity and build a skyscraper. And I could tell, like, the difference between Babel or Babylon and New York City was like, in the Lord's view, it was almost like there's no difference, because the purpose behind what they were making is still a big tower and to exalt humanity. I'm curious a little bit about how the New Jerusalem will look, but obviously the Lord's temple will be the Temple Mount will be like high up, and so that will be the highlight of the city and not a skyscraper. Back to the message. Seriously, dear ones, he's just a silly little boy playing with his building blocks of money, dear ones. He for sure has plenty of it. So don't, dear ones. I am begs it of you, sweethearts. Dear ones, for sure, don't give that joker any more of your hard-earned money. For let me ask you folks today listening online with burning wallets and ears to match it. At times of, does he, dear ones, really deserve so much respect, babes, my babesters of the hour, or could be, but let's just... Come on, dear ones, do you think for 1 second a man like that doesn't look at porn and keeps it A-OK 100 with his dear wife, Melania? Ain't no dear about it, folks. The woman is running on fake oil perfume fumes, and she knows it, dear ones. Boy, howdy. Does she know it deep down that, yeah, Lord, so my hubby doesn't really care for me, although I'm hot as they come for a 40-year-old. Yeah, dear ones, think the matey maidels getting it a little bit twisted on her A-word, and soon, dear ones of, and tell me again, dear Julie, our new so-called friend, how old exactly are you? And he's only... Whew, boys, well, we have a crisis on our hands, and soon, and some of their B-wordy Christian ladies, or so-called hearts on her A-word, and soon of, but what about me, Lord? Why didn't he pick me? As I've said so already, folks, picky and to the max. Not like Mad Max at all, dear ones, or her, for that matter, all those years ago. And would she? She would still, dear ones, be as chillax as they come on the finding a new man score, as long as he really loves me, Lord. Alright, I do apologize for my voice. I'm having some trouble today, and yeah, I did a couple prayers, so, but it's still not. I'm having some problems speaking today. So he was saying, like, if we don't separate the non-believers from believers for all eternity, basically it'll be like, if y'all have ever seen, like, little kids kind of bothering each other and crying and poking each other. I kind of had that sense when he was speaking here. He's saying that is what will happen for all eternity if he doesn't separate the sheep from the goats. And I know some of you are in the gray area, so They said, all day, every day, babe. Yeah, hun. Wanting to actually poke the Christians to death, daily dogs. For yes, dear ones, all eternity. It's basically what would happen on our A-words if I didn't form these boundaries, dear ones of really babes, my babes of the hour, or could be, if only. Y'all really want to be allied with abusers the rest of your lives, for all eternity? No, dear ones, and no dogs. Ain't no dogs about it, folks. When it comes to heaven, dear ones. And you, dear ones, are you more dog-like than say she is, dear ones? Oh, she can be one too, dear ones. Let's for sure not get it twisted on your own A-words today of words, dear ones. What words are you truly longing for anymore, dear ones, of love, dear ones? It's for sure what I am is on about over here of leave it, dear ones, for now, babes, to me, dear ones. Yeah, so I speak of her sad as F story and circumstances for now. For will I, dear ones, redeem her from the pit as those traitors did to Joseph all those years ago, dear ones. Yeah, babes, think Judas in the worstest way possible a man can be, folks, and that's I pretended to be a real Christian man on her A-word so I could swoop up some sweet gal from the churchy church's ranks one day of. Oh, he swooped and he scored, folks, for a time, dear ones. And this abuse can only last for a set amount of time, folks. Think redemption, dear ones, of my dearest one. Okay, we got it a little twisted, folks. You all, for sure listening on this channel's sake, are for sure very dear to me, folks, of her hand, dear ones. Is it? Killing her today to share more of this intel with y'all today? Nah, not so much, babes, not so much. For what is there left to tell, Lord? I might as well read all of these journals out for the online listening, nosy, picky, nose-picking audience today of, nah, folks, we ain't that far gone yet. And curated, dear ones. Yeah, so I speak of these little snippets, folks. These slick blick flashes into her life are for sure meant to be known, dear ones. Just as she's about to be known by a real loving to her finally, and not just staring her way in sleuth mode, dear ones. It's how he operates, folks, and the real reason she forgive her, dear ones, for doubting her own effing prophetic gifting on this one, dear ones. For will he? Is he ever, Lord, actually just gonna come talk to me on this one, Lord? This one, dear ones, is the one point that's actually held her back from, yeah, dear ones. So I speak of the humility that can only truly come into a person's life when, yeah, dear ones, think prophecies going unfulfilled for a long time, and will I, Lord, still play my A game and trust you on this one? She is, dear ones, finally slinking into that sweet space of, okay, Lord, I don't really see it, dude. The sweet side of this dude you say is there. But will I? I will, Lord, chillax on my own A-word for these non-moves of pleasure, dear ones. It's for sure far from her heart and countenance at this time, dear ones. Just longing for, yeah, dear ones, so it's simple as F, but yeah, ladies, my leadsters of the hour. Ain't always so simple, is it, dear ones, to find a gossipy partner in crime? Think, dear ones, for me of all the gossipy, crimey crimes these two can get into someday of. God gave us a little intel on the Regierung over here to discuss, and should we share it, folks, with the folks online? Yeah, babes, my babesters of the hour. Or could be, if you would but just. Yeah, dear ones, so I speak of her sad, lonely as hell decisions to make at times of. Do I, Lord, share this part of the story, God? Crickets, dear ones, and no, babes. I ain't no genie in a pocket for her. She for sure wishes I would be to her at times of. There, he changed topic. Oh, yeah, okay. So he was talking about the Braun-Päonie reference, and he told me to tell y'all the truth of the dream because all from way back in Journal La La Land, because some of y'all are like, thinking the brown part refers to her skin. No, she's white. She's from Max. The 2 miscarriages were Max's kids too. And I did locate the dream, so that was good, and I will share that real quick. Yeah, so actually it was kind of interesting. One of the children was named by the Lord or an angel. So one of them was Ha-Titus. I knew that from the dream because I had the dream, and then they had named the child, and I reacted right away. I said, "You talked to me first, or you asked me first before you named my child." Like, that was the thought that came right into the dream. And there was no response. But I looked it up later, and the short phrase "ha" at the beginning means like the. So like when we call Jesus like the HaMashiach, it's like the Messiah. So the Ha-Titus was like the Titus or the Titus. I thought it was a cool name later, and I was kind of surprised I reacted so strongly to someone naming my child. And then the other child, I think, is a girl. Okay, I had the second miscarriage in 2021, but I didn't have this dream until 2022. So the name, I believe this was meant to be her name, came later. So I dreamt that my cousin Danielle, which the name Danielle means God is my judge, she was telling me that the name Braun-Päonie runs in her family as a woman's name, which in Texas, in the small towns in Texas, they don't really have these kind of names until just recently, so that was absolutely not true. So I felt like it had to do with something in the spiritual realm. And when she said the name Braun-Päonie, it was basically German. The word brown was Braun. The name basically went together, so it was Braun-Päonie. It wasn't just peony. And we were driving home from Dallas in a car with a bunch of dogs, and there were dogs in the car. This was prophetic. And on the way home, a group of ladies blocked our path on the highway, and I told them to move, but they wouldn't. Alright, so there's more to the dream, but I will not share the whole dream. But basically, I looked up brown, and the meaning of brown can be associated with resilience or security and dependability, and peony is Latin for praise giving or healing. So I really liked the meaning of those names, and I always like to have children with names with the meaning are meaningful. So the brown can refer to her hair probably and her eyes, because Max has very, very dark brown eyes. They almost look black, and very dark brown hair as well. Yeah, so I was actually very tired. I do have a thorn in the flesh. We don't talk about that much, but there is one. It keeps me a bit tired sometimes, even if I have a full night's sleep. So he said, "But all's well that ends well, folks, and this little gal's hand, brain, and mind are floundering again today, dear ones. Love you all, dear ones. Yes, dear ones, big hugs to go around virtually speaking today. For can I, dear ones, make a physical, emotional difference in your lives, as she so brazenly claims, in some of your silly views? Yeah, dear ones, so I can actually give you a hug today if you so sillily choose to ask for it. Ain't no silly about it, folks. This little gal is in some need of some basic regard and lovin'. And no, dear ones, she can't get it in this hour of give me, more, and more attention, Mom. Yeah, dear ones, it's bad at times, folks. The little, sweet, silly, all at the same time tricks her little Jolie pulls on her from time to time of, no, Papa, I don't want to go to the kids' Bible study, all just so that I can. Yeah, folks, think sitting with, snuggling up on, but bothering her peace all at the same time of, life, dear ones. This is just normal life with little ones around. So will you, dog? How about considering it for me, son, or could be someday of, yeah, dude, so I speak of having one more child with someone. And why not, dude? Just say it was an accident, like her, if anyone asks. Plan, dear ones, and I am that I am means plan to the T, dear ones. Yeah, so I speak of the families in Austria. And is she? She is, dear ones, a bit of a spectacle at times, with having 2 crazy little girls pop out of her, poppin' at the time, loins, one after the other. But are they any more? There are, dear ones, some reproductive problems gone down on her A-word as a result of miracles, dear ones. And no, honey bunnies, I don't mean multiple babies popping out of her in future. Think more like Sarah's sweet miracle birth, dear ones. Yeah, so the girls are only 14 months apart, and in Australia they plan the families so that the kids are at least 2 years apart because you get more money from the government that way. And it's also cultural, so sorry, any Austrians listening. They like to have control and feel that they have control of things. So if you have a kid, if you have one that's older and more mature, it's not so crazy. I think that's why they like doing that as well. Yeah, so we get questions all the time about Jolie, why they're so close together, like if we did it on purpose. So I had never meant to say my kid is an accident, but I still haven't figured out a way to get around that one. Yep, it was an accident. So y'all get a very long salutation today. Love you all, the reals deals, everyone. Love, yes, dear ones, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit all rolled into one voice, dear ones, in her head, not 3, dear ones. And if you have multiple voices going off in the Kopf, dear ones, like her dear dad, check yourselves, dear ones, before attributing something so quickly to me, dear ones. Okay, babes, my babes of the hour, or could be, like her, dear ones, like her. I truly love you all, everybody, not just her, despite the private SF messages. Just get over it, dear ones, for now. And someday you will see it with your own spiritual eyes, dear ones. Physical ones gone and done with by then, dear ones. That yes, babes, all of this special private instruction time for her was absolument necessary, dear ones. Love you all, babes, whether you get whispers from me like her into your brain or no, dear ones. And no, dear ones, let's stop the complaining on my A word and realize once and for all, folks, some of you Americans for sure are just about to have, well, folks, let I am then I am give it to you straight, babes. You and me, dear ones, plus whatever else is lurking around in the spiritual realm. It's just gonna be you and me, the reals deals, surviving alone in the wilderness, folks, by then. And I will, dear ones, speak to you then, ständig, for sure, dear ones, for sure. So chins up, everybody, like her, at times, floundering spirit deep down inside. But I will, Lord, make it through this day, today, God of. Love you all, dear ones. Yes, babes, a big one. Okay, and just a side note, I know World War III is a huge topic. Let's just say it, the Lord said it last time. World War III has already started, folks. It's a slow roll into it, into the crazy, and God has mentioned to me something about a peaceful summer next summer. So, honestly, seriously, I thought this summer was the last peaceful summer. He said next year would be a peaceful summer, at least in Europe. Don't know what'll be happening in America. So, there's still time, everybody, and you don't have to worry. You should do what God said for you to do, but you don't have to worry so much. And think how long it took Noah to build the ark. It took a long time. So just relax. Just do little steps. Whatever he told you to do, just take it one day at a time. He knows our strengths and weaknesses. He knows what each person can handle. Remember, the Lord keeps my lamp burning bright. My God turns my darkness into light. With your help, I can advance against a troop. With my God, I can scale a wall. God bless. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, it's ready. It's right here. What is that? Huh? Yeah. And you say bye to the Lord too?
Bye. Bye.